We're back with the current AOY champion, Dean Silvester. How you going, mate?
Good, mate.
We're talking fly. A lot of people want to get into fly. They I hear a lot about it. Bass on these impoundments, it's a crucial technique that you really need to know.
Yep.
Because at times the fish are really shut down. And it's the only thing they will react to. At Boondooma you used it to keep your run going and actually put you right in contention to win the AOY this year.
Yep.
Can you go over what sort of technique and what gear you were using at Boondooma?
Yeah, with fly fishing, I think nearly all of us have got a fly rod in the boat, and you only pull it out in anger. You don't. It's probably the worst side of most of us. You should refine that technique and use it. Like some guys can use it all the time and guarantee they catch a fish any time of year, any dam. But most of us, we fish everything else. Last resort, fly rod comes out. And you probably haven't thrown it for 12 months, 18 months, so casting's pretty ugly, the techniques are ordinary, and you've got to get confidence again then in a particular fly as well.
Well, it worked for you at Boondooma because it kept you right up there. What's your reel and your rod and your line and stuff that you're using there?
I run a Rovex reel.
Yep.
I actually run a 7, even though I run a 6-weight line, I run a 7/8 reel. Because you don't use your fly line all the time, when you're on a smaller reel, you end up with the tighter rings, harder to cast. You run that 7/8, it's a bigger spool. You run plenty of backing.
Well, you're running the line pretty much off the mat anyway, aren't you? So it's not like you're running that out of the reel.
No, but it's the first time you pull it off, you end up with those coils, and your first few casts before you get some stretch into it, gets pretty messy.
Yep.
So, but the fly reel is pretty much just to hold the line, like you say. But if you run the bigger one, it doesn't coil up like most of the smaller ones do. What
fly were you using at Boondooma, and why were you using it?
Mate, I learned how to fly fish with John Schofield, probably one of the best fly fishermen in the country.
Yep.
He taught me in, I think, 2006 at Boondooma itself. And I got some vampires off him. And I think I've pretty much always used his vampires over the time.
Still using those ones?
Yep. I've tied a few myself, and probably mine are in the mix now, and it's hard to say whose is whose, but you still, if I can't catch a fish on a fly and I know they'll eat it, I'll dig out one I specifically know is his, just to take that side of things away from my thinking.
Yep.
And yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We caught up with Dean earlier. He did some fly techniques for us. Check this out.
So I ended up end of the last session in Boondooma having to resort to fly. Flies is a very successful technique on shutdown bass, but it's just something none of us resort to until we're forced to, which is sort of bad in one way because we don't, none of us really get it down pat. Terrible at casting, terrible at striking, all the rest of it. But I think John Schofield explained it to me the best. He said, if you're not hungry, someone offers you a full hamburger and chips, you won't touch it. But if there's a jar of M&Ms or something sitting on the bench, you'll walk past and you'll pick at one or two of them. Doesn't matter how full you are. So that's his theory on it all. But the line we use, essentially 6 to 8 inches per second. So it's all about paying attention, counting, looking where the fish are, and getting it down there. So you don't have to cast great lengths. Just cast what you're capable of. Some guys will even throw it out and electric away to get more distance, but I'm definitely not a expert at fly casting. When you're fishing deep fish, you don't have to be. So I'm fishing in 26 feet. There's 1 or 2 fish sitting near the bottom. So cast it out, let a bit of sluck out, so you're sinking away from the boat. So because even once you start stripping, obviously your line still sinks. So I probably count to 30 before I start the strip. And using a vampire, it has a wing above the hook. So when you pull it tight, the wing closes, and when you pause for that split second, the wing opens back up. So that's why you do the sharp, short strike, so this thing sort of darts and the wing sort of closes and open, gives the impression that it's swimming. You normally get the bite on the pause, but probably the biggest thing I can say with fly fishing is you always got to keep your line and your rod in the same axis. You don't want to have the rod on an angle, you don't want to have it sideways to where your line is. Always pointing straight down your line. Because if you get a bite and you strip strike and your rod bends, you won't set the hook. So obviously your rod comes into play as soon as that hook's set, but until then you want just you straight down the line, no interference from the rod whatsoever. So you want to be really snappy with your strips. You don't want to be slow or long. You just want short, sharp ones. That thing just darts away, chut, 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 and then they'll suck it in. But similar with the plastic, the bite's often subtle. As soon as you feel it on the fly, you want to strike into them, and you don't want to lift the rod at all. If you miss them, your fly's probably only moved a foot, and they'll grab onto it. But otherwise, if you get them, get that rod in the air, get it into play so you don't give them any line.
Check us out at bassaustralia.com.au.